I'm really delighted to be joined in the studio now by some co-founders and chairs of the Women in Data group, who I hope are going to give us some good news about diversity and whether we are heading in the right direction in this industry of ours. So please do join me in welcoming into the studio Roisin, Rachel and Payal. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Roisin, first of all, tell me, what is Women in Data?
What is Women in Data? Big statement. Women in Data is a community that has been founded by practicing women in data. Mm-hmm. And we really are an opportunity, a platform, a community setting that allows women to equip, skill, connect, network in the world of data.
Okay. Rachel, I'll put this one to you. Why? Why is this a challenge, and why did you start, therefore, Women in Data?
Okay, so just to give you a little bit of background, Roisin and I, in our actual day job, are analytical headhunters. And in 2014, we ran some KPIs, delving into gender specifically, and were absolutely horrified to see that we'd placed less women in 2014 than we had in 2000. And we just couldn't understand it. We were more profitable than ever, more successful than ever, had a larger client base than ever. And we were horrified, and we wanted to do something about it. So we decided originally to do one event which invited 125 women to a half-day event to have a number of speakers, of which we were very fortunate to have Payal join us as our keynote. And we thought at the end of that day that was great. We felt very empowered. These women felt very empowered. We went off for our Christmas holiday in January 2016. We were absolutely inundated with women saying, when is the next one?
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have a responsibility to
there
carry
you
on,
go.
I take it.
Absolutely, and here we are in 2019.
So Roisin, how have things changed over the last 3 or 4 years ago since that first event?
Okay.
Is there progress?
There's progress for Women in Data in the fact of we now have a platform, we're connected.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown exponentially over the 4 years. So we went from that 125 ladies in November 2015 to in excess of 20,000 women.
Oh, wow.
Our flagship conference has 1,000 female data practitioners in one room. Mm-hmm. Not only celebrating talent, but we're also skilling each other. We're connecting, we're mentoring, we're being mentees and learning constantly. So the opportunities are great, but it's not all good news,
Go on.
I have to say. We have revealed in recent weeks that through our own data there at Women in Data, that actually there's a continued decline in women entering our industry.
A continued decline in that. Okay.
And actually the gulf is getting bigger by the minute, by the second, because men and women are entering the industry at very different rates. And Payal, you've got some key statistics on that, don't you?
I do. So, what we've found over the last few weeks is that over the last 18 years, there's been a 400% increase of men entering the industry, but only a 68% increase of women entering the industry. And so right now, our ambition is gender parity, and our data is telling us we're not on the path to achieve it in our lifetimes, which is pretty sad.
So why, and I don't know who I'm going to address this question to, but why is this the case? Why is this gender divide growing rather than shrinking, despite, activities and groups like yours? What's the problem here, and therefore what can you start to do to try and raise awareness to resolve that? Roisin?
Yeah, I think there's many elements and contributing factors to this. Our education system isn't robust enough for girls to study STEM. They're not encouraged early enough in the education cycle. So that is one thing we have to tackle. We have to tackle it now, today. Yep. We have to encourage young girls that there is a brilliant career awaiting them in the world of data and AI. We also need to mobilise untapped talent right now. And the return to work women who have families are not being motivated, educated and skilled to return to work. This industry moves at a pace of lightning. And it's incredibly intimidating for a woman to take a year out of industry at this pace. So as a nation, as an economy, we need to really look at how it's beneficial to our organisations, to our businesses, to mobilise that untapped talent of women returning to work.
I've just got something to add there, actually. Just from the school children perspective, you're absolutely right. we are now working with international well-paid jobs, but actually the significance of women and men being able to choose a career that is very data savvy, coupling with their passions and their interests. If you love fashion, if you love sport, if you love gaming, if you love fitness, if you love food, data is so centric in every business. It's an opportunity to do something that you love every single day, and it's something that's changing, periodically. It's an amazing and fantastic sector to work in, and we will do everything we can to encourage these girls to start studying STEM.
Well, let's talk about some of the challenges that are introduced when it comes to a lack of diversity, lack of gender diversity is one of the issues there. And Payal, I know you're going to be giving a talk later on this afternoon on the really interesting topic that, again, I don't think we understand enough about in terms of bias in AI.
So I think this is becoming a kind of definitely a bigger issue over the last few years. So as these algorithms are being built, many of them have actually got human biases inherently built within them. And so AI have made decisions such as, does someone get a job interview? Is someone going to be a reoffender? In terms of a crime case, what lending rate is someone going to get for a loan or a mortgage?
It's really important stuff. The more trust we put into AI systems, the higher the stakes are if we don't get those systems right.
Exactly, and actually what some of the outcomes of that is that it's discriminating against the wrong people. So women aren't being invited to the interviews. We think that someone from Latin America may be higher risk than someone from the UK. These things just aren't right in some of the outcomes. And, I guess the question then is, how do we tackle it? As much as we can be aware of our own biases, at the end of the day, we're complex people and we're humans. We need to ensure that we are aware of our biases, but then secondly, it's being aware of giving the machines diverse data and trying to take out some of that bias within it. But most importantly for me, and I think this is a key to cracking it, is that we have to have diverse teams working in AI and actually working with the outputs of these algorithms. And diversity is way beyond just gender. It's race, it's class, it's backgrounds. But until we get diverse teams running it, the danger is that those biases are going to make the wrong decisions.
A final word, because we are out of time now, unfortunately, but I'd just like to ask, what if there were a call to action right now for anyone who's watching this, who wants to, I guess, be part of what it is that you're doing, or understand more about how to make these changes in the industry? And given there are so many senior leaders within organisations here who are watching this, who are present at this event, what would you say would be the right contact, the right course of action?
That's a big one. There's so many, if I'm honest. There's so many, if I'm honest. For me personally, it is, we have to invest in our people. Whilst machines and technology are driving what we're doing, people, culture, values is absolutely at the epicenter of that. So go back to basics, invest in people, and invest in our children's future by encouraging them to study STEM.
And to find out more about women in data, where do we go?
Well, I was actually going to add to that comment. I would say actually start listening to your people and inspiring these people, and actually make the changes that they're looking for rather than assuming change, which I think is quite a large problem in certain organisations. Women in data, we have an opportunity this year to increase the amount of attendees from 1,000 to 3,000 should we receive enough commercial funding. So if there are companies out there that really do want to make a change and want to invest in their people, then www.womenindata.co.uk, reach out to us. We're here to listen.
Rachel, Roisin, Payal, thank you very much indeed for joining us here in the Tech TV studio.
Thank you.